Hi, in this video, we will learn how to run Azure Databricks Notebooks with Azure Data Factory. Before going through, we can go with the following points first and foremost. Here you can see, first we need to create Azure Databricks Notebooks and pipeline. Then we will be creating Azure Data Factory resource. Then we will have to create a link service for Azure Databricks. This link service will be in Azure Data Factory. Then we need to generate an access token through Databricks so that we can communicate with our PySpark code and Azure Data Factory simultaneously. Then you will need a notebook activity in a pipeline, and then we will use a parameter in a notebook to pass to our data factory. Then setting parameter value in a pipeline, and finally we will run an Azure Databricks notebook with Azure Data Factory. Now these are following steps. Do not create a compute resource in Databricks. This is first and foremost, you just keep in your mind. It will run on job compute and can be monitored in job runs. Here you can see in our data factory, and inside this data engineering section you will find this job run part, and this will be showing everything there. Then we need to create a compute resources because we are not creating any compute resource in Databricks. So we need to create a compute resource in Azure Data Factory. This would be a compute resources through link service. So Azure Databricks compute Databricks. So you can create a link service in the link service page in the manage section of Azure Databricks Studio. To connect Azure Databricks from Azure Databricks, you need to create a link service for Azure Databricks runtime. So then we will create a data factory pipeline. So to use notebook activity, create a pipeline and from the Databricks category and a notebook activity to the pipeline designer surface. Finally, we will pass parameter values to a notebook activity, and add each parameter to the activity's base parameter as shown here. So we will be doing this hands-on in upcoming time. Okay, so these are pre-requisitive activities we will be performing hands-on in this video as of now. If you have any question, you can write in comment section, and you can visit my portfolio Dr. Sachin Saxena. This is Linktree /Sachin Data Engineer. Okay, so let's go back to our hands-on, what kind of Databricks and what kind of activity we are going to perform. As you can see, I have already created a data factory notebook, data factory instances here. I have already created a Databricks workspace. In this compute resources, compute section, I have not created any compute resources as of now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data factory part. This is create a pipeline here. So first and foremost, we need to create a link service for Azure Databricks. To run link service, I'll have to go to managed, because what happened in managed, you can create a link service through this link. You can create an integration runtime through this part, this option. But if you want to monitor, or if you want to depict every status, so you will have to go through this trigger runs and integration runtime. Now I'm going to create a link service here. So for this link service, I'm going to create link service, and for this I'm going to search for compute section, go to compute and create Azure Databricks here. So I'm going to search for Azure Databricks, and this would be first Azure Databricks. So I'm going to use my runtime here. This would be connecting, and for this I'm going to select my description here. So this is showing my workspace. Here you can see this is showing my workspace. So I'm having this workspace here. So this is my workspace, and this is the URL of this. I need access token for this connectivity. So I'll go back here, and inside this setting I'll go for advanced or developer in under user section. Inside this developer, I'll go for search for access tokens. Manage. Here you can see at the top this access token is showing here. If you want to manage, you can go back here, manage, and you can create a generate token. So I have already created a token, so I cannot use it because I had to save it somewhere else. So I'm going to generate a new token. So for example, what's the purpose? So it will be used for Databricks. So I'm going to generate this time. So make sure to copy the token. Now you won't be able to see it again. So I'm going to copy this token and going back to my data factory, paste this access token here and going to create cluster version. So what kind of cluster version do I have? So I can go back here to my compute resources. I'm just checking the compute recent version. So this would be the runtime. So this runtime 15.4 LTS. So I'm going to select this runtime here. So this would be 15.4 LTS 3.50 12 2.12. Let's check entire 3.50 and Scala 2.12. Yes. So I'm going to explore one more time. It's a 15.4 3.5 2.12. Okay, so what kind of cluster type you want to select? So you will have to go back here and check the cluster type as well. So here I'm going to select this DSV3 kind of. So this would be DFV3. Okay, so I'm going to select cluster node type. So I'm going to select cluster node type standard D4S V3. So I'm going to select Python version 3. So this would be workers 1. I need worker 1. Let's test connection. Go for test connection. If it's showing green, connection successful. So I can create this link service. Okay. So this is first part we have completed, where we have provided the access token. And then we have created link service successfully. Now I'm going to jump to the next part to use notebook activity in my pipeline. So what I'll do, I'll go back here in author section, go back here in the notebook. I'm going to create a notebook here and we'll search for notebook here. So I'm going to drop this notebook. So let's see, we do not have any notebook currently in this section. So what I'll do, I'll create a notebook from this right top. I'm going to create a notebook and let's rename it Azure Data Factory Notebook. So this would be Azure Data Factory Notebook. So what kind of code I'm going to write here? This would be kind of parameter I'm going to write here. So I'm going to using parameter to define. So I'm going to write this first parameter. This would be the first parameter here. So to define and use parameter in a notebook, I'll be requiring, here you can see this parameter is there. The following Python code defines a variable name folder and assigns a default value of data. So to retrieve a parameter value, I'm going to use a get function like this. So this get function will assign to a folder variable dbutils and widgets.get is there. Okay, so the get function will retrieve the value for the specific parameter that was passed to the notebook. If no such parameter was passed, it will get the default value of the variable you will declare here. Now I'm going to pass output value variable here. So this would be output variable. So whatever the code will be there inside this text, it will be passed here. Format folder. So this value will be passed here. So the address will be DBS. For example, this folder is consisting Sachin. So this would be at this address would be DBS /Sachin /product.csv. Or by default this is data. So dbfs : data /product.csv. Now I'm going to set this parameter. This is almost saved. I'm going to set this parameter value in my pipeline. Okay, so to pass parameter values to a notebook activity and each parameter to the activity, a base parameter is need to be set. As you can see, I'm going to define these parameters. Hide this property, going to search for Azure Databricks. Yes, going to check for notebook path. If you know the notebook path, that's fine. Otherwise, you can browse from this location. It will browse all the respective files. So we do not have that file in the repos or shared. This notebook is actually, if you go back here in workspace, in this file, in this users, can you see this is residing inside users? So I'm going to click on users. If you click on users, this Azure Data Factory notebook would be available. Can you see? I'm going to click this email ID. This notebook is available here. I'm going to import this notebook here. So let's create a base parameter because we do not have a straightforward code. This is just passing or communicating through a parameter. So I'm going to name this parameter here. This parameter will be here, and let's say give some value. So this would be, let's say, data address. If you would not give any data address here, so it will take by default value of data. But if you are assigning a value here, so you can give the date. This will be passed as a whole address, dbfs /data /product.csv. Okay, or you can add dynamic content here through this parameter, and this variable will be passed here. So I'm not going to pass here. So in this example, the parameter value is explicitly specified as a property of the notebook activity. You could also define a pipeline parameter and assign its value dynamically to the notebook activity base parameter, adding a further level of abstraction. You can see here is the path. So I'm going to publish all. If it is good to go, you can find everything here. Then we can run an Azure Databricks notebook with Azure Data Factory. Okay. Here you can see publishing completed. This has been completed now. Now I can run this activity, which would be the part of this code. Okay, so once you trigger this activity, if you can see, go down here, this is showing progress. If you find the progress here, if you run this sign, you can see this is showing my progress. Okay, so this is showing detail, and this is showing run page URL where actual activity is going to run. I'm going to open this URL in a new tab where it will be displaying all the respective code here. One more thing, I can go back here. I can jump to data engineering part and go back to your job runs. If you click on job runs, you will find this was my previous job I was running previous days, and this is the current job which I am running now. So this is just taking this part, and its status is pending. Previous was succeed, and now it is pending. Why it is pending? Let's show this part here. When I go back to my compute resource, it will be showing job compute, and here it is creating a job. Once it is created, it will perform that running part and will be shut down immediately. This is the role of job computed. When I go for all purpose compute resource, I do not find any workload or any kind of resource here. So actually this job compute is going to trigger to run my pipeline through this ADF. This is what is going to happen in our backend. So it's going to take much time, because your job run is going to initialize first, then your pipeline will be running, then you can see all your pending or your outputs and all other activities are showing. Can you see this job compute is also in running condition? It's going to create that part. So I'm going to pause this video. Meanwhile, this compute resource is going to create. As you can see, this pipeline has been succeeded now. And if you want to see the details, here you can see this is showing all the details, and this would be the output for my pipeline as well. If I expand this one, this would be a link, and if I open this link here, it will display all the status. Here you can see it is succeed, this is job ID, these all codes are run, and here the data address. If you recall, what is the data address here? This is the value which we provided here in this value. Okay, so when I'm going to run this path, this is going to run this entire job ID. This is the notebook address, this is the lineage, and this is the duration. And if you go down, you can see this compute resources is now stopped. Now you can go back to your job run again workflow. You can see this is now showing status. When I go to the compute resources here, it's still in stop status. Why? Because it just trigger all the pipeline and exit from my notebook. This is how you can run everything and every pipeline from your notebook through Data Factory. Thank you. Keep learning, keep growing.